next guest went from selling jewelry at Tupperware parties to selling out theaters all over the country. Now she plays sister to Reese Witherspoon in the new movie You're Cordially Invited. It premieres January 30th on Prime Video. Please welcome Leanne Morgan. Here. You're very funny. I've seen a good deal of your work, and I know you got a sitcom coming out. You got this movie coming out. I mean, really, congratulations.
Thank you, Jimmy Kimmel. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
You have such an, I think, unusual story. You were raising 3 kids, and you started doing stand-up comedy at the same time, which one of them is hard enough to do. But to do that, it's really remarkable to get where you are now. Is your family, do you have like a funny family?
I do.
You do?
I do, my darling. I had funny grandparents, and my mom is really funny. My dad's funny, and yet we made fun of, I mean, we laughed about everything, you know?
You brought some of your family here to the show.
I did. My big sister, my sister, and her husband,
Yeah, she looks like your sister. And your brother-in-law. Was she a good sister?
A very good sister. Now, I mean, she would fight a circle saw over me. If somebody messed with me, she would fight for me, but also messed with me, Jimmy.
That's usually how it goes. In what ways did she mess with you?
Well, she locked me in a meat locker with animals that had, you know, were ready for processing. So, and that was a little traumatic, but I mean, it was fun for her. But she and I worked in our little mom and daddy's meat processing plant, and we were not good help. We wanted to curl our hair. It was the 80s, and we were having a good time. But yeah, we worked in a meat processing plant.
What did you do? What was your job?
We wrapped meat.
You wrapped meat?
We wrapped the meat. My daddy was the butcher, and my granddaddies helped him. And then my aunts and my mama, they took the orders and wrapped for people. Because I'm from a farming community of 500 people in Middle Tennessee. And so all these farmers would bring their beef and hogs and all that to my daddy.
Wow.
Their own beef.
There was no middleman at all.
No.
People would show up and you'd hand them a pig or something.
Yeah.
A pig that you had spent time locked in with.
Yes.
Thanks to your sister, who I'm surprised you still talk to. How small was this town?
500 people.
Oh, so like you knew everybody, right?
We knew everybody. It was mostly farming people, but we had a business, and then we had a gas station. Corky ran the gas station.
Really?
Corky, and he let us, my sister and I ran a lot of gas. We were going and doing, and he would let us charge our gas. And when I say charge, he'd write it down on a piece of paper and then tell our daddy, and he'd have to pay it. But she went to college. She went to college about an hour away, and she would be on fumes, and she would drive all the way back to Adams, charge her gas, and then drive back. Yeah, and Corky would just let us do it. But let me tell you, that's our claim to fame. Corky's boy became an OBGYN.
Wait.
And that was a big deal.
Corky's what?
Corky's son became an OBGYN.
Okay.
And that was a big deal for all of us, and he delivered Reba McEntire's baby.
What?
Yeah.
First of all, someone named Corky's kid becoming a doctor is remarkable, just to start with. And then to deliver Reba McEntire's baby
I know, and I think Winona Judd. I've heard that rumor, but I'm not for sure.
Wow.
Because I was raised right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, so I saw country music stars all the time. We'd go to the mall, and we would, because they all lived right near us. That's how close I was to Nashville.
What country music stars would you see and run into?
Porter Wagner, Barbara Mandrell.
Wow.
Johnny Cash and June Carter buying paint at Sherwin-Williams, and they had on full-length fur coats.
They were buying their own paint.
They were buying their own paint. Because country people buy their own stuff.
Yeah, like you don't see that. Like Prince wouldn't walk into a Sherwin-Williams and say, "Give me 30 gallons of purple." He would send somebody in there. And so how far were you from the city?
Like 35 miles.
Oh, okay, all right. So you weren't that far from the city. Okay. Is everybody back home just flabbergasted by your success and what has happened to you?
Yeah, everybody's so tickled.
By the way, this movie is so funny, and you are so funny in it. I watched it this weekend.
You think so, Jimmy Kimmel?
I think you were like the funniest. There are a lot of very funny people in it, and I think you're the funniest person in it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Will Ferrell is in this movie. Reese Witherspoon is in the movie. All the like side parts are super funny.
I know. Everybody, we had a ball. It took 2 months. It was my first movie. And I couldn't even believe I was there. And every day we had a ball.
Peyton Manning has a part in the movie. Nick Jonas is in the movie.
Little Nick Jonas.
Yeah.
Y'all should see him in his pants. Darling. And I had a scene with him. I had to flirt with little Nick Jonas, bless his heart. And but we bonded. I mean, he was precious, yes. And let me tell you that, all right, I was so tired. I don't know if y'all know anything about making movies. I know you do, but it is, you sit there all day, like it's kind of draining until they call you. And we had a big scene that day, though, that was like stunts, and it's crazy. The movie is wacky crazy. And I was so tired, and I went back to the hotel, and I put my gown on. And my middle child called me, Maggie, and said, what are you doing tonight? And I go, nothing, I'm going to bed. I said, but they asked me to go to dinner with Nick Jonas and Jack McBrayer and Rory Scovel, but I'm too tired. She said, take that gown off right now, Mom, and you go and eat with Nick Jonas, because my girls are the age 27 and 28, where they were crazy about the Jonas Brothers, and they'd seen him in concert. So I went back down there, and I went out to eat with them. And I sat and bonded with little Nick Jonas. It was a steakhouse at this hoop-de-doo place.
All right. The meat was up to your standards?
The meat was up to my standards.
And you just spent the evening and chatted with...
Yeah, and talked with... And he showed me pictures of his baby, and my second grandbaby was born when I was doing that movie, so I showed him pictures of my baby. And then, this is crazy, but I was the person on the movie. Nobody knew who I was. I mean, you know, nobody knew who I was.
Right, sure.
It was all these famous people, Reese Witherspoon, Will Ferrell, all them. And Nick Jonas didn't know who I was. He just had this scene with me. And so we were sitting there, and this mom at this restaurant with her daughter and her husband walked by, and the mom was a fan of mine and had seen my Netflix special. And they screamed and went, Leanne Morgan, can we get our picture? You're my favorite. And I was like, okay. And they never noticed Nick Jonas, Rory Scovel, Jack McBrayer. And then Nick Jonas looked at me and he goes, who are you?
We will never ask that question again. It's great to have you here. The movie is called You're Cordially Invited. It premieres January 30th on Prime Video. Leanne Morgan, thank you, Leanne, for being here. We'll be back with P. Yorn.